Karl Marx. You've definitely heard the name, right? It's one of those names that just sparks immediate, intense debate. He gave us this incredibly powerful way to look at the world, a lens that really focuses on money, power, and that age-old struggle between the rich and the poor. But is that the whole story? That's the big question we're going to tackle today.
So, did he get it wrong? Did Karl Marx really think that everything, from art and love to why we go to war, was just about class? It seems like a simple question on the surface, but wow, the answer is going to take us on a fascinating journey through some of the most important ideas of the last 100 years. So let's dive in.
Okay, so before we can even get to the critiques, we first have to get a real handle on what Marx actually meant by class. Because it wasn't about how much money is in your bank account or what kind of car you drive. Nope. For him, it was something much, much more fundamental about your place in the whole economic machine.
So here's the basic breakdown, according to Marx. He saw society as basically split into two big teams. On one side, you've got the owners, the people who control what he called the means of production. We're talking factories, land, technology, all the stuff that makes stuff. And on the other side, well, you've got pretty much everyone else, the workers, the people who have to sell their time and their labor just to survive.
And this is exactly why this idea is still so powerful today. For Marx, poverty isn't some kind of personal failing, and wealth isn't just a simple reward for working hard. No, he argued they are the direct results of this really lopsided relationship. The system itself, he said, is basically designed to create inequality.
But, this picture, as clear and simple as it seems, has some pretty serious blind spots. And that's where our investigation goes next, to the first huge challenge to Marx's theory. And it comes from thinkers who pointed out a massive part of the economy that he just completely ignored. This quote from feminist thinkers really just cuts right to the heart of the issue. Marx was obsessed with what happens in the factory, right? But what about all the work that happens at home? The work that gets the worker ready to even show up at the factory in the first place. This is what scholars call social reproduction. It's all that invisible work that goes into making and remaking people. We're talking about cooking, cleaning, raising kids, caring for sick family members, even just providing emotional support. It's the essential, life-giving work that has, historically, been done by women for free. And without it, the entire capitalist system would just grind to a halt.
So, here's the knockout punch from this feminist critique. You just can't talk about the factory without also talking about the home. You can't. They are two sides of the very same coin. And by totally ignoring one, Marx was really only telling half of the story.
But the missing pieces don't stop there. Not at all. The next major critique of Marx argues that he didn't just miss what was happening in the home, he missed a huge part of the globe. This critique really zooms in on the brutal history of race and colonialism.
And this leads us to this incredibly powerful idea called racial capitalism. The argument is actually pretty simple, but it is profound. Capitalism wasn't born all innocent and then somehow got infected with racism later on. No, this theory says it was racist from its very first breath, that it was literally built on the idea that some human lives are worth more than others.
I mean, think about it for a second. Marx's typical worker was a white guy in a factory in England. But for that factory to even exist, you needed a much bigger and, frankly, a much more violent global system. So ask yourself this, was a factory worker in London really in the same boat as an enslaved African on a sugar plantation, or a Native American whose land was stolen to grow cotton? Or what about an Indian farmer who was forced to grow opium for the British Empire? They were all cogs in the capitalist machine, for sure, but their reality was shaped by race and colonialism just as much, if not more, than by their class. Okay, so we've seen how gender and race really complicate Marx's simple class story. But there's another layer of complexity we absolutely need to add, and that's the messy, unpredictable world of human identity, culture, and belief.
See, Marx had this big idea that eventually all the workers of the world would realize they were on the same team and rise up together. But if you look at actual history, that's not what usually happens. people are often way more loyal to their country or their religion or their ethnic group than they are to their supposed class, even when it's totally against their own economic self-interest.
So why does this happen? Well, the Italian thinker Antonio Gramsci had a brilliant answer for this. He called it hegemony. Now, it's a fancy word, I know, but it's for a simple idea. The most powerful form of control isn't force. It's getting people to believe that the system is natural and just, even when it's completely stacked against them. It's about winning hearts and minds through things like movies, schools, and the news, so that people willingly go along with their own oppression.
And all of these critiques we've talked about gender, race, and culture, they all come together on one of the most important ideas for understanding power today: intersectionality. The key insight here is that you can't just look at one piece of a person's identity in isolation. Class is super important, yeah, but it's always mixed up with everything else.
Think of it like this. A person's life is definitely shaped by their class. But being a working-class woman is a totally different experience from being a working-class man. And being a working-class woman of color is different again. And what if that woman is also an immigrant? See? Each of these identities intersects and creates a completely unique experience of the world. It's not some simple ladder of oppression, it's a complex, tangled web.
So we've thrown a lot at Marx, haven't we? We've got critiques from feminism, anti-colonialism, and intersectionality. It might seem like his big central idea about class has been pretty much torn to shreds. But is that really the right way to look at it?
And this right here lands us on the most important point of this entire explainer. The goal isn't to just throw Marx in the trash can of history. Not at all. It's to see him for what he was, not some prophet who had all the answers, but a brilliant thinker who gave us an incredibly powerful starting point.
So really, there are two ways to read Marx. There's a simplistic reading that says class is the only thing that matters. But then there's a more sophisticated modern reading that uses his ideas as a toolkit to understand how class intersects with all these other forms of power, like race, gender, and nationalism.
So let's go all the way back to our original question. Did Marx reduce everything to class?
Well, the honest answer is, kind of. Yeah, he did. If you only read Marx, you're going to get a very narrow, pretty black and white picture of the world. But here's the amazing thing. His ideas were so powerful, so foundational, that they gave later thinkers the very tools they needed to fill in all the color and complexity that he himself missed. So, in the end, Marx isn't a god to be worshipped or a demon to be feared. He's a brilliant, flawed, and, I think, an absolutely essential thinker. To truly understand the world we live in, we have to see how all these different forms of power, class, race, gender, and so much more, are woven together in this complex and ever-changing tapestry.